Okay, traders, we're gonna do a top down here on Enigma, ENG. I like to look at it versus dollar, but we'll take a look at it versus Bitcoin also. So here's the daily chart. Let's actually go to a monthly. So this is the first monthly candle. We've exceeded that intra-month last month. No cycle work here. So long term, the lows that matter here. This is your kind of your long term risk line, which basically is all the way back to zero. If you look at the weekly, I don't know how much you can give this initial week of trading. You know, after an ICO, it's just all over the place. They traded from inside of 1 all the way up to 5 and back. But you can see this is where the basing took place. And then this is just went on a monster run up. Topping tail on the weekly, you're pretty far away from the 8 at that point. Topping tail, you take out the low. Just want to show you guys how precise this is. Here's your swing line on the way up on the weekly. Boom. Take that topping tail, take the low out, and then you drop into the 8. Pretty textbook. You held the 8, you bounced to a lower high, and then it's been in this intermediate term weakness I'll show you here shortly on the 4-hour. But just as similar to the rest of the market, we're in a down weekly cycle. So not a lot of data there, but that is what's been going on the intermediate term. So you're still in a long-term uptrend. We're long-term bullish here on ENG. But as you can see on the daily, we're just having to sit through this intermediate term pullback within the context of the longer term trend. So here you hold the bands, right? Bounce to a lower high right here. And then we made higher lows again, which I'll designate in green because that was above here. But the whole bands right here really broke down. So this long-term daily chart started to break down here with lower lows. And this is where we see this is a lower high here. This is a lower high relative to here. So this has established your intermediate term downtrend at the moment. And again, Bitcoin, the majors are all experiencing the same thing. So where you're going to turn this intermediate term back bullish from a price perspective is you need to take out this high right now above the bands, above this pivot. And then basically I'll have new, fresh, higher highs. We'll see if we get a higher low at some point like this. Maybe this is your higher low right there. It's kind of too close to the 8 for me. But this is the key area to watch below 4. You get above 4, then you're probably going to retest these highs just inside of the 6 handle. And then maybe we can retest the old highs and then make a new high. The daily cycle turned up off of these lows here. Daily cycle turned up. This daily cycle will do a good job for the intermediate term. And then we can see, again, here's that same pivot, 200 in the pie lines, all up right around 4 there. It's going to be a big area. It probably will be pretty tough to get through on the first time up. If you are long, if you guys have been nibbling or building a position and you are long, I would probably, especially if you bought well around 2, I would take some off at 4. I mean, that's a nice double. But this is a name that's been moving around quite a bit, so we do want to trade this a little bit more frequently. And you can see that the bands are all negative since back here in mid-January when we broke the bands here on the 4-hour. They've been negative ever since, and maybe right now they're kind of laying on top of each other, which is indicative of more of a range trade. And then we'll see if that can turn back up. Get above this pivot here on the 4-hour, turn these bands up, and then we'll see if we can test that 4 area. And the hourly should be Hourly is not quite above pi line here. It's not quite in the northern hemisphere. It's trying. 30-minute. All right, pretty good hold of pi back here. You're really like day trading this thing. That was a buy back here at 250. Had a nice bounce. Pretty good ebb and flow. Cycle away, back to the band. Cycle away, back to the band. Cycle away, back to the bands. But this 30-minute getting above pi is trying to show you that it's turning up. Just not quite there yet. So still long-term bullish. And intermediate terms still have a little bit more, some more work to do to get above the bands here. 3.5, 3.5, 4 is going to be the tough place to get above. And if you can gain traction above there, then we'll see what the overall market's at. But that would be what you would need to really turn this momentum back to bullish, like you had back here. All right, guys, we'll keep you updated on that one.